हरि लाल की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। कस्तूरीतिलकं ललाट पटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभं नासाग्रे वरमौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कंकणम् सर्वांगे हरिचंदनं सुललितं कंठे च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूड़ामणिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद् गीते भवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल्लारविंदा यतपत्र नेत्रे येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्ण प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोतवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गाव दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोतीर्णा खलु पांडवैरनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थ गंधोत्कटम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरिकथा संबोधना बोधितम लोके सज्जन षट् पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुलंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्दरुद्रमरुतस्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विरुत्सुधासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, बोले उमापति महादेव की जय, बोले सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। आदरणीय पूजनीय पंडित गण, खास तौर पंडित गोसाई जी, प्रिय सज्जनों, प्रिय भक्त समुदाय, महानुभाव, पहले सभी को राधे राधे, सीताराम और मेरा प्रणाम। आज बहुत खुश है, बहुत साल के बाद, कई साल के बाद फिर इस शिव मंदिर में आके आप लोग की सेवा करने के मौका फिर मिल गए। बहुत खुश हूँ, कई बार आया और फिर आने का भी ये सुअवसर मिल गया। Most worshipful Pandits, especially Pandit Gosain ji, the spiritual leader of the Shiv Mandir in Brickfield, dearest devotees of the Supreme Lord, the Divine Souls. First, let me say Radhe Radhe and Sitaram to everyone, and my pranam, my humblest prostrations to each and everyone. A special welcome to all our viewers on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Bhakti TV, etc. I am very happy again to have this wonderful opportunity after many years to come back to the Shiv Mandir in Brickfield. Been here many times before. It's a great pleasure for me to be here again tonight. अभी पितृपक्ष शुरू हो गए, तीसरे दिन है। पितरों की पूजा करने की जो पक्ष है, ये शुभ अवसर पर गीता पाठ करने का सौभाग्य मिले हम लोग को, सुनाने को और सुनने को। Again on the third day of this auspicious period called Pitri Paksh. Paksh meaning 15 days, Pitri ancestors. 15 days dedicated to the worship of those who departed from this world, our ancestors. We give worship, we give thanks, and we pray to Bhagwan Shri Krishna that in whichever way he can help by our offerings, etc., to guide and protect those souls. On this occasion, today is the third day of Pitri Paksh. We've been doing Gita Paath. It's one of the texts recommended at the time of Shraddh or worship of the Pitris. This gives great happiness to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. In turn, blessing the Pitris, in turn, blessing us. We have this great opportunity today again to read this most divine book called Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and to listen to this divine philosophy of all the Vedas, Upanishads, etc., as outlined by Bhagwan Shri Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Today my katha comes from the second chapter of Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And what lessons we are going to get today, we'll hear as we begin the katha tonight, Gita Paath. We begin by chanting the divine name of the Lord. As I say many times, we live in the age of Kali Yuga, and we are told in the scriptures, the Bhagavad Mahapuran says, Kite yadhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato makaihi dvapare paricharyayam kalau tadhari kirtanat. 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 52nd verse, Bhagavad Mahapuran. The Bhagavad is saying, that which is attained through great difficulty in the age of Satyug, Kriti Yuga, Satyug, on the meditation, dhyan, meditation of Sri Krishna. In the age of Treta Yuga, through yagna, sacrificial worship to Sri Krishna. In the age of Dwapar, through puja, ritualistic worship to Sri Krishna, is easily attained in this age of Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the divine name of the Lord. As a matter of fact, the scriptures tell us in this age of Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga keval nama adhara, sumiri sumiri nara uttara hupara. But in the age of Kali Yuga, the only thing we can do, just by chanting the name of the Lord, so easy, just chanting the divine name of the Lord, meditating on Bhagwan, remembering Him, sumiri sumiri, one is able to cross the ocean of Maya and attain the ultimate aim of life. Let us chant the divine name of the Lord while we begin the Gita Paath. Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha Raman
Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha.
Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Radha
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
ओ जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रयाथिनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः। तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत् मत्परः। वशो हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता। राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय
राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
ओ जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
ओ हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
हरि बोल हरि बोल।
ओ जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषुपजायते। संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते। क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिभ्रमः। स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति। ओ जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
ओ हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
ओ हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
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 ओ हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Second chapter, 60th verse. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah. ये बता रहे इंद्रियों, जो हमारे इंद्रियों है, जो इंद्रिया है, ये बहुत बलवान है, बहुत बलवान है और भागते हैं विषयों में। इसको वश में करना बहुत कठिन है। और जहां इंद्रिय भागते हैं तो मन को भी साथ ले जाते हैं। मन. This verse, chapter 2, verse 16, Gita, Bhagavan Krishna is saying to Arjun, the senses by nature, they're very strong and impetuous. Very strong. And so they keep running after sensual objects, the objects of the senses. And in this way, they carry the mind away, even of a person who has a great discrimination. He's read the scriptures, he's understood the scriptures, yet, in his endeavor to control the mind, because the senses have been pulled so much by the sense objects, it's very difficult. The most important aim of spirituality is to control the mind. Man par apne vash mein karna. In the whole Gita, Shri Krishna is saying to Arjun, control the mind, control the mind. Man par nigraha. Control the mind, Arjun. Arjun, in the 6th chapter of the Gita says, Chanchalami manah Krishna pramati balavaddirham tasyaham nigaham manye vayurivasu dushkaram. Chapter 6, verse 34, Gita. Arjun says, Krishna, yes, you're telling me control the mind. I've made you my guru, Guruji. Arjuna asked Shri Krishna to guide him as he was unable to decide on the right course of action due to the extreme bewilderment of his mind. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yache yasyanishitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Chapter 2, verse 7, Gita. Arjun says, Hey Krishna, please guide me, I'm begging you. Guide me on the right course of action, for I'm unable to decide what to do due to the extreme bewilderment of my mind. I seek your guidance as your fully surrendered disciple. Shishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapanna shish. In other words, you're my guru, whatever you say I will do. He didn't do, but eventually. So Guruji, how to do this? The mind is so strong, turbulent and unyielding. Chapter 6, verse 34, he's saying, this mind is so strong, turbulent and unyielding, it's as difficult or more difficult to control the mind than it is to control the wind. And Shri Krishna agreed with Arjuna. Asanshaya mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam. Chapter 6, verse 35. You're 100% correct. Yeah, Arjun. 100%. The mind is indeed difficult. Durunigra. Difficult to control, but not impossible. Asambhav nahi hai. It can be done. So the whole Gita is teaching how to control this mind. And tonight we'll hear a little bit about why the mind is so unruly and how we can do something to control it. Look, take an example in the world. Let's suppose a child desires to eat chocolate, candy, chocolate. But the parent says, look, it is raining and we have to go all the way to the shop, to the store to get chocolate. I will go, but I can't go right now. I'm very busy. After a while, the child might forget about the chocolate. But if the child knows there's chocolate in the cupboard and he sees that the cartoon, the box having the chocolate, he can see it. He knows there's chocolate. Then the craving, the desire for the chocolate becomes stronger and stronger, and it becomes impossible to control the child until you give the chocolate to him. In essence, the senses in contact with the sense objects, the desire gets bigger and bigger, it increases. It doesn't get less. It gets bigger. And this takes the mind with it. The main thing is the mind. So the first thing we have to control is the senses from going to the objects in our endeavor to control the mind. Again he says, Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparah vanshehi yasyendriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. Arjun, अगर आप कोशिश नहीं करते इंद्रियों को अपने वश में करना, इसकी कोशिश नहीं करते, कुछ प्रयत्न नहीं करते, तो सत्यानाश होगा, सत्यानाश होगा. इसलिए अपने वश में हमेशा इसके प्रयत्न करना चाहिए. So here Sri Krishna is saying, Arjun, if one does not make some effort in trying to restrain the senses, you know something is bad, don't take it. Keep away from it. How many people know that sugar, the white sugar, is very dangerous for you? The white one especially. There's poison in there. Poison. How is it purified to become white? Bone, all kinds of things are used. There's poison in that white sugar. But we can't drink the chai, the tea, we can't drink the coffee without sugar. It's going to kill us. We know it is bad for us. You're going to get diabetes. All kinds of things are going to happen to you. The doctor tells you, keep away from it. So we know something is bad. Don't eat the deep fried food. You have destroyed everything, all the vitamins, the mineral, the protein, everything you have destroyed. Karela is very good, right? It purifies the blood. It can help in terms of if you're diabetic, etc. It's very good to eat. But how do we cook the Karela? Especially in Trinidad. How do you cook the Karela? Once I asked someone to cook Karela for me. Oh, they found out that that Swamiji loves Karela. They said, Bhaiya, I'm going to cook Karela for you today. I said, okay. So I'm watching what they were going to do. They cut the Karela up in the pieces. Then they took a handful of salt and they threw it. Ooh. Now I'm watching what's going on. And when the salt is soaked into that Karela, they took it and started to wring the Karela. So I thought they were going to drink the juice. They wrang that and then they took the juice and threw it away. And then they took that what remained now and fried to a point it became like a biscuit. And then they said, Swamiji, Bhaiya, khao, eat. Eat? What are you giving me? You have taken everything and thrown it away. You have destroyed it. What are you giving me? What are you giving me? That's what we do. All because of this tongue. I was saying a few days ago, there's no need, well, not night, yesterday actually, I had Gita Paath at Pandit Chetram Maharaj's at the Devi Mandir in Janham Junction. So I was saying, doctors advise and people are saying that you have to eat meat, you need protein. The body needs protein, human body, yes, it needs protein, and so you have to eat meat, fish, egg, etc. But I said, and even one Pandit said after me also, why we have to eat meat? We're vegetarians. Lentil, pong for pong, has more protein than meat. We can get protein from so many things. We don't have to. These things destroy us, as I mentioned. When you eat, anything you eat, it goes inside of us and stays for 21 days at least. It stays in there. That's why, as I mentioned, when you have puja, etc., the Pandit will normally tell you to fast for at least 21 days. Of course, very hard. We'll say, Panditji, 2 days, 3 days, that's enough. So you have to clean. This thing goes inside of us and creates poison, cancer. And we end up, we're destroying and we don't realize what we are doing. We are supposed to be very wise, smart human beings. Yet we do so much harm to ourselves, to the environment, everywhere. All because of not trying to control the senses. 5 senses. Shabd, Sparsh, Roop, Ras, Gandh. 5. And desires of these 5 senses. We have 5 desires. Shabd, desire to hear, to listen to Bhagavad, to Gita, to the divine philosophy of the Gita. Otherwise, if we did, we do have quite a few people, but the mandir, you wouldn't have had place for people in the mandir tonight. Swamiji, come in. Hey, Bhagwan, Ram, 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 Ram. This guy is talking philosophies like bonks in your head against a brick wall. He's not going to tell some story, make some jokes. In other words, we want entertainment. We want to listen to Gram Katha. There are 2 Katha. One is a Ram Katha and one is a Gram Katha. Ram Katha, listen to the divine philosophy of the scriptures. Gram Katha, listen to people's business. How this one is bad, that one is bad. Carrying the news. Oh, the worst thing we can hear about others has become so sweet to our ears. If someone comes and starts talking how good somebody is, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear about the good things. When someone starts talking and degrading someone and goes to the lowest level, oh, that is a sweet one. It's all to do with the condition of the mind. If the mind is pure, you only want to hear good things, divine things. But the more dirty the mind is, the more dirty things we want. Gives pleasure to us. It depends on what we eat, what we like to eat, what we like to see, what we like to hear. Everything has to do with the condition of the mind. What the mind is. So Shabd, Sparsh, to touch. The desire to touch, to feel. To touch the Murti of Bhagwan, the lotus feet of the saints. Oh, things in the world. Roop, desire to see. What to see? We can look at the beautiful murtis of Bhagwan, the beautiful kathas in the movies of Bhagwan, Shri Krishna, etc. Or we want to see the other kind. Shabd, Sparsh, Roop, Ras. Desire to taste. And I mentioned a little bit about the taste already. We can eat sattvic food, healthy food that is going to help us, that's going to give strength, is going to make us strong and help the mind. What you eat affects the mind. When we eat food, it gets divided into 3 portions, that food. 1/3 goes to the body, 1/3 goes to the mind, and 1/3 comes out as waste. You've heard the saying, you are what you eat. If you want to be a spiritual person, you want to be a devotee of Bhagwan, then we have to be very careful what we eat. Very careful. Try to eat sattvic food, wholesome food. Gandh, desire to smell. We can want to smell this daru. Some people find great joy in smelling the daru. Daru means rum, alcohol. And some, if you bring the daru close by, they would want to, they might give you a good jhapar. Abuse you. They want to smell the divine flowers offered at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. When Sanak Sanandan Sanatan and Sanat Kumar went to Vaikunt and they fell at the feet of Bhagwan Vishnu, the tulsi leaves that were offered at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, the tulsi leaf, that entered the nostril, the fragrance. And it gives so much joy to them. These are Paramhans, mind-born sons of Brahma, Sanat Kumar, Sanandan. They're always 5 years old, naked. They go wherever they want. No one stops them. Jaya Vijay did stop them, but that was a divine leela. Anyhow, when that bliss of those, that's the tulsi leaves offered at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, entered into the nostril. They got so much joy and bliss that their mind, which was always absorbed in the formless aspect of Bhagwan, immediately forgot that bliss. When a greater happiness comes, the lesser one naturally disappears. They got so much bliss that they said to Bhagwan, by all means send us to hell, because we give a curse to your servants. Send us to hell. On the condition that this bliss we are experiencing from the fragrance of the tulsi leaves enter in our nostrils that was offered to your lotus feet, that even in hell we enjoy that bliss. That's what the devotee wants to get. Big difference. So the senses by nature, they will run into the world. We have to make an effort to control. Control it. No, this is not good. This is bad. You see, everything if you're a true devotee of God, if you're doing sadhana, if you're sadhak, we have to be careful of kusang. Kusang. There's susang and kusang. In Sanskrit, su means good. Ku means bad. Sang means association. So kusang means bad association. Susang or satsang means good association. A devotee, if you're practicing bhakti, you're doing sadhana, you have to be very careful of kusang. And kusang doesn't only mean talking materialistic things with material people, sensual things. I mentioned we have 5 senses. Anything associated with the 5 senses that takes our mind away from God, that is a kusang. Anything. Bachao. We have to save ourselves. Do not look at things that will take your minds away from. If you're a devotee, if you're trying to be a devotee, if you're trying to think about Bhagwan, to attain bhakti, divine love for God, then do not look at things that will take your mind away from Bhagwan. Do not listen to sensual talks, to people complaining and bringing down others. Paradosh. Paradosh is very dangerous. Bhagwan Sri Ram says to Shabari in the Ramayana, अष्टम जथा लाभ संतोषा सपने हो नहीं देखहि पर दोषा जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम अष्टम जथा Bhagwan Shri Ram is outlined in Navdha Bhakti, ninefold devotion to Shabari. And he says, "O Shabari, Ashtama Jatha Labha Santosha." The eighth type of devotion is to be contented, whether in gain or loss. Whether in gain or loss. And Sapane hu nahi de kahi paradosha. Sapna means dream. That not even in dream we should look at the faults of others. Paradosh nahi dekhna. This thing is one of the most dangerous thing for someone who is practicing bhakti, spiritual life, is fault finding. Save yourself. Don't listen. When somebody come and start talking about someone negatively, my Guru, Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu would say, you should run away from that person like a cobra snake is ready to strike you. How much scared you will be. So you should become scared. Don't listen. The one who is listening is as criminal as the one who is saying. Both are criminals. Both lose. Both get affected. We call ourselves satsangis many. And all we do day and night, we talk about how this one is and how that one is. And that's all we can do. And the Guru says, this is the one of the things you should not do. Are we not supposed to follow the instructions? What are we doing? We've forgotten that He's looking at you all the time. Save yourself from that. So, such a person haven't brought the senses under the control, trying to keep it from going away, controlling it, and fixes the mind on the Lord. He fixes his mind on me, Arjun, then slowly the mind will come under his control. So we have to, this is a sadhana. When you're doing sadhana, you're practicing bhakti, you have to control the senses from running. Eventually, that will help to control the mind. You let the senses run free, do whatever it wants. You do not follow any instructions of the Guru, then how are you going to control the mind? We have to make an effort. And then we wonder why we're not progressing. Sometimes instead of going forward, we're going backwards. We continue. So now, how do we get? The mind is so attached to the material world, it keeps running. It's addicted. Now, two questions comes here. Why does the mind get attached to any person or object in the world? Number one. And second, then how can we change that to the spiritual world? So Bhagavan Krishna says, Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu pajayate. So I did chapter 2 verse 60, then I did chapter 2 verse 61. This is chapter 2 verse 62. Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu pajayate. Shri Krishna is saying to Arjuna, when we think again and again, that we can find happiness in any person or object in the world, we get attached, we get addicted. We fall in love with you, as you would say in the world. Nobody falls in love just like that. It doesn't happen. Nobody becomes an alcoholic overnight. Nobody becomes a chain smoker overnight. We're not born like that. Nobody becomes a druggie overnight. First we see somebody else using that thing and we think, oh, they must be getting happiness, it must be something good. We try it. We take a little drink. We take a little smoke. And then you feel something and then you try a little more. And then you keep using it because you think it's going to give you happiness. Eventually you become an alcoholic. You become a chain smoker, you become a druggie. Same thing with what we call a boy sees a girl sees a boy, and the decision comes in the mind, this is the boy who's going to make me happy. This is the girl. Very subtle. Nobody just falls in love. And the thought comes again and again. This is the girl for me. This is the boy. This is the girl. And eventually, you get so attached, so addicted. Now you don't want to even eat food, you can't even sleep until you get that person. And you say, I have fallen in love. We fall in love and then you fall out of love afterwards too. It happens. How many people long ago, and now it's a big thing in India also too, our marriages were arranged. People never look, you never even know the person you were going to get married to. They were arranged. And yet those people live so happy. They live so happy. And nowadays you so much fall in love and you fall out so fast. Divorce. Because we have not decided where to find true happiness as yet. We are looking in the wrong place. Your decision, we want happiness. It's our nature. Being a fraction of happiness, a fraction of God. Shri Krishna says in Gita, Mamevansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatanaha. Chapter 15 verse 7, Gita. Shri Krishna says, the individual souls, we people, we are the soul, Atma, not the body. Body belongs to us. The individual souls, he says, are eternal parts, Sanatan, eternal fractions of Him, the Supreme Lord. And it's a natural law that every part, every fraction has a natural love for the whole and wants to become one with it. All rivers naturally flow to the ocean, being a fraction of the ocean. And the same way, so being eternal parts and fractions of Shri Krishna, it means we naturally love and want only Shri Krishna. And who is Shri Krishna? What is God? The Vedas say, Raso Vaisah Rasagvam Hevayam Labdhva Nandi Bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad chapter 2 verse 7. The Vedas say, Shri Krishna, God is Anand, bliss, Ras, happiness. In other words, whether we say happiness or we say Shri Krishna, God, these are two names for one and the same entity. So being eternal fractions of God, of Shri Krishna, it means we naturally love and want only Him, and because He is happiness, that's why we all want only happiness, and we will not be satisfied until we attain Shri Krishna, until we attain that supreme happiness. We'll have to keep performing action, and every action we perform will be only for happiness. The problem is, from beginningless time, we the individual souls, we are eternal, beginningless. Never had a beginning, will never have an end. God is not senior to us. Ever since Bhagwan existed, we, the individual souls, have existed also. Gya gyau dva vaja visha nisha vaja heka bhokti bhogyata yukta anantaschatma vishwarupo hyakarta tayam yada vindate brahma me tat. Shweta Shvataropanishad chapter 1 verse 9. The Vedas say, just as God, the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is unborn, eternal, beginningless, we, the individual souls, are also unborn, eternal, beginningless. Uncountable lifetimes we have been searching for one thing only, happiness. But because of ignorance, agyan, because we have forgotten we are the soul, the Atma, identifying with the physical body, we have always been looking for happiness where it cannot be found, in the material world. Until and unless we acquire that knowledge, we go to the Guru and he gives us the true knowledge. Hey, you are the soul, Atma, you're not the body. And the happiness you're looking for, you will find only in Shri Krishna. And that knowledge goes and sticks in the mind, in the intellect. Then we will go in the right direction. Otherwise, we'll keep looking in the world. And we'll keep rotating in 8.4 million forms of life, as we have been doing from beginningless time. So, that's why we get attached in the world. I'm going to get attached to, that's what we're going to attain. The katha I did before in a wrong was Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kauntiya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Chapter 8 verse 6 Gita. Shri Krishna says, when the life leaves the body, tyajatyante kalevaram, when the life is leaving the body, whatever we remember at that time, that's what we're going to become, where we're going to go after we die. And what you're going to remember at that time, whatever you're attached to, wherever the mind is attached. If it's attached to any person or object in the world, as has been happening from beginningless time, you're going to go right there. I give the example of Jada Bharat. In the Bhagavad Mahapuran, 5th canto, he had to become a deer. He got attached, Paramhans. But he got attached to a deer, had to become a deer in the next life. This is where we're going to go. We keep rotating. If we get attached to Bhagavan, so the same philosophy applies. Whatever, when you think again, so if the knowledge comes in the mind that the happiness I'm searching for, I will find only in Shri Krishna, only in God, because God is happiness. If that knowledge can somehow get fixed in the mind, sit in the intellect, then Shri Krishna says to Uddhav, in Uddhav Gita of Bhagavad Mahapuran, he says, Vishayandhyataschittam vishayeshu visajjate ma manusmarataschittam mayyeva praviliyate. 11 canto, 14th chapter, 27 verse, Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. Shri Krishna says, Uddhav, just as people in the world think again and again that they can find happiness in any person or object in the world, they become attached to that person or object and they attain that. They keep rotating in the world. In the same way, if someone, that knowledge comes, is able to sit in the intellect, that the happiness they're looking for can be found only in me, in Shri Krishna, and they keep thinking about it again and again and again, they become attached to God, what will happen? We'll attain God realization. The verse before in the Gita, Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastatya sanshayah. Chapter 8 verse 5 Gita. At the last moment, Antakale, when the life leaves the body, antakale chamameva smaran, you remember only Shri Krishna. Mameva, only Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna says, you will come to me. You will certainly come to me, Arjun. There's no doubt about that. But the only way we can remember Shri Krishna, God, at that time, is if we are attached to Him, if we're in love with Him. Otherwise, impossible. That's how we have to practice. So, that's how we practice in the world, and we get attached and we attain the world. In the same way, the way we practice, the method is the same. And the result is the same. The method of practice, thinking again and again. Thinking again and again. That this thing, this object, this person can make me happy. Same thing in the material world, same thing in the spiritual world. And what happens, what is the result? We attain that for which the mind gets attached. In the world, it gets attached to the material world. We keep rotating in 8.4 million forms of life. If you practice spirituality, if you're under the guidance of the true Guru, Sadguru, the true saint, and he's able to convince you. It's not easy to convince us, to make that knowledge sit in the intellect. That the happiness you're looking for will be found only in Shri Krishna. So what will happen? We will meditate on Shri Krishna. We'll be thinking about Shri Krishna all the time, again and again. We get attached to Shri Krishna. We fall in love with God. At the moment of death, all we'll be thinking about is Bhagavan. You will attain Bhagavan. So that's the problem. Then the second line says, Sangha sanjate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate. Same verse. The first line, if you think about something again and again, that you will find happiness in that person or object, you get attached. So, desire is the source of all attachment, desire for happiness. We're looking in the wrong place, so we get attached to the material world. Desire is the source of all, an attachment is the source of all sorrows if it's in the material world. From attachment comes two things. Attachment is the main thing. So if a desire is fulfilled, the thing we are attached to, if we get it, if desire is fulfilled, what happens? Greed, lobe comes. And if we don't get it, if that thing we want, that desire, we don't get it, our desire is unfulfilled, anger, krodh. The mother is desire, kamana. A desire can either be fulfilled or remain unfulfilled. When it is fulfilled, it results in greed, which is ever increasing and insatiable. The more you get something, the more you want it. A person who never drinks coffee, never drinks chai, doesn't think like now, let's suppose we have been here 1 hour. Oh, the Swami is talking. I am feeling so tired, sleepy. If I get a cup of coffee, if I get a cup of tea, chai, if I get a smoke, I'll be fresh again. Then he can talk for the whole night. Because of these people's attachment to this object, it keeps pinching them again and again. Smoke me, drink me, drink me. The person who never drinks coffee doesn't think I need a cup of coffee. The person who never drinks alcohol never thinks I need a drink. The more you use it, the more you want it. There are people who drink 10 cups of coffee and more in the day. Somebody drinks only 1 cup in the morning. They're dependent on the use. On the use. Shri Krishna, the Bhagavad says, Na jatu kamaha kaman upabhogena shamyati havisha Krishna varmeva bhuya eva vibardhate. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 9th canto, 19th chapter, 14th verse. The Bhagavad says, trying to satisfy a desire is like pouring fuel, ghee into the fire, clarified butter in the fire. You do havan, right? Havan. So you don't have one, you pour the ghee, the clarified butter. Indraya namaha swaha, Agnaya namaha swaha, Vayave namaha swaha. When you pour that butter, that clarified butter, the ghee in the fire, what happens? Temporarily the fire goes down. And then it gets even bigger. So when we satisfy a desire in the world, temporarily you have a desire to eat doubles. So you go and you eat 10 doubles. I don't want any more doubles again. Today, tomorrow, I want more. You want to eat ice cream, you eat a whole tub of ice cream. Now I'm good. And tomorrow I want more ice cream. It's ever increasing and insatiable. It only gets bigger and bigger. And what happens when we get angry? Jab krodh aate hai. What happens? We will hear, we'll do a bhajan first. Bhajan is so important. We're facing, as I said, so much. This mind bothers us so much. And so much problem, all is caused by the mind. Mind alone, the mind. That's why it is so important. We have to pay attention to the mind, the mind, the mind. Man. So, this bhajan says, if you want to get peace and happiness, if you want to take away all the tensions and stress of the world, then chant the name of Shri Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Subha or Sham, day and night, 24 hours, keep chanting the name of Shri Krishna. This name of Shri Krishna is so pure and so purifying. It is so loving because Shri Krishna is sitting in the name. There's no difference between the name and Bhagwan and his name. Any name of Bhagwan, whether it's Durga, Durga, whether it's Radhe, Radhe, whether it's Shiv, Shiv, Krishna, Krishna. It's one and the same. The one who does not sing the name of the Lord, then you have lost everything already. You'll never find true peace, true happiness. If you want to take away all the darkness of the mind, all the problems, then chant the name of the Lord, chant Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. If you, the one who has not attained pain, then you do not know what happiness means. The one who doesn't meditate on Shri Krishna, of course, don't just take the name like a parrot I mentioned. Dhyan karo, meditate on God and then take the name. So what do you know about true righteousness? What do you know about dharma? Real dharma. If you really want to bring light in your life, true light in your life, then chant the name of Shri Krishna. Give up all this wandering in the world and looking for happiness where you can't find it. There's nothing in the world, bhaiya. You won't find it there. Give up this ahankar, this ego that I know and I can do and they can't do without me. Give up all that. Forget all the opulences, and no matter what, you can be a billionaire, trillionaire in the world, you will not be happy. There are people who are billionaires and trillionaires and they still commit suicide. We think if I am a billionaire, I'll be happy. No. Forget about all of that. This world is just a whole storehouse of dukkha, sorrow and suffering. That's all. Why are you dying in this world? Why not chant the name of the Lord? So we'll sing this beautiful bhajan. जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा, जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण। जो तू मिटाना चाहे
चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा, जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल वंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल वंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा।
कृष्ण नाम पावन पावन, कृष्ण नाम प्यारा प्यारा, जो न बोले कृष्ण कृष्ण जग में वो हारा।
कृष्ण नाम पावन पावन, कृष्ण नाम प्यारा प्यारा, जो न बोले कृष्ण कृष्ण जग में वो हारा हारा।
मन का मिटे अंधियारा, मन का मिटे अंधियारा, बोले कृष्ण कृष्ण
सुबह शाम
बोल बंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा।
जिसको मिले ना पीड़ा, सुख का मरम का जाने, जो न धावे कृष्ण कृष्ण नित्य का धर्म का माने।
जिसको मिले ना पीड़ा, सुख का मरम क्या माने, जो न ध्याये कृष्णा कृष्णा नित्य का धर्म क्या माने।
चाहे अगर उजियारा, चाहे अगर उजियारा, बोले कृष्ण कृष्ण सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा,
सुबह शाम बोल वंदे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा।
छोड़ दे भटकना दर दर, तोड़ दे अहंकार घेरा, भूल जा जगत के वैभव, जग कैद को का डेरा।
छोड़ दे
भटकना दर दर, तोड़ दे अहंकार घेरा, भूल जा जगत के वैभव, जग है दुखों का अंधेरा।
फिर चाहे फिर काहे मारा मारा, फिर काहे मारा मारा, बोले कृष्ण कृष्ण सुबह शाम बोल बंदे
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा,
सुबह शाम बोल बंदे
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्णा।
बोले कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, ओ बोलो कृष्णा,
बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा,
बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, ओ बोलो कृष्णा,
बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा, बोलो कृष्णा,
ओ बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे,
बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे,
ओ बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे, बोलो राधे बोलो राधे
बोलो राधे बोलो राधे बोलो राधे बोलो राधे
ओ बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा
बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा
ओ बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा
बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. इसके बाद, so if desire is fulfilled, it gives rise to greed, lobh, which is ever increasing and insatiable. And when a desire remains unfulfilled, we don't get what we want. Somebody doesn't do what we want, doesn't listen to us, doesn't do as we say as we want them to say. Ha! Anga comes. Anga, krodh. And what happens when anga comes? Krodhar bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibramah, smriti banshad buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. Chapter 2, verse 63, Gita. Shri Krishna says to Arjun, from anga comes delusion. When you get angry, listen how dangerous anga is. Krodh. From anga comes delusion. From delusion, loss of memory, we lose our memory, the power to discriminate. When we lose our memory, we lose the power to discriminate, and then everything is destroyed. When you get angry, you destroy yourself. You know, sometimes we think somebody did something wrong and I have to fix this person. I have to take revenge. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. So you find that person and you curse and you abuse and insult them to the highest point, and the person starts crying and you say, I fix you. You'll remember me. But in the process, we fix ourselves even better. We destroyed ourselves. Destroyed. Look, there was a saint called Bhartrihari, Shiv Bhakt, great saint. Bhartrihari. Bhartrihari said, Ahara nidra bhayamay thunani samanya me tat pashubhir naranam. Bhartrihari says, when it comes to ahar, eating, nidra, sleeping, bhay, fear, and maithun, mating, human beings, we people are equal to animals. He's equating us to animals. सामान में तत् साम वो पशु के समान है हम लोग. He's saying we are like animals. Actually, he's been very nice to us. Very nice. We are worse than animals. I mentioned about food. You ever see a dog or some animal deep frying food? Eh? What do the goats and cows, etc., eat? Grass and herbs and that God has provided for them. In the same way, God has provided an abundant variety of fruits and herbs, vegetables, etc. for us also. But do we eat natural food? We are human beings, man. We can't eat original natural food. We have to destroy all the vitamins and minerals and protein, everything. Deep fry. Salt and deep and masala and destroy completely. And then we eat. As our tongue says, our mind says, we eat. And then we become at 25 years of age, we suffer from all kind of sickness, illnesses, disease. And then we say with great pride, I'm a human being. Intelligent. We're sleeping. We have no rules when it comes. Animals, birds, etc., they're very regular and punctual in their sleeping habits. Regular. Certain time they go to sleep, certain time they wake up. Punctual. We don't have any rules. We spend thousands and thousands of dollars in the bedroom, but when it comes to sleeping, sometimes we go to sleep 6 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock, sometimes 12 o'clock, and sometimes whole night we wake. In the computer, in the chat, or something. Fear is an integral part of our life. Hey, don't go alone there in the night. Don't go there in the dark. Animals, birds, etc., they roam freely whether it's day or night. They do not know such a thing called fear. And mating, lions, buffaloes, etc., they mate only once a year to reproduce. Once a year. We almost our whole life, sensual pleasures, ruin, and thereby ruining the energy of the body, the senses, the mind, the intellect, the soul. Everything gets ruined. And then we say with great pride, I'm a human being, I'm no animal. Yes, we're not animal, we're worse than them. He's been a kind. But human beings have been told to be superior to animals. Why? So in the second line, in the first line he says, Ahara nidra bhayamay tunani samanya me tat pashubhir naranam. In the second line he says, Jnanam hi tesham madhiko vishesho. When it comes to jnana, knowledge, the power to discriminate, this has been given in abundance to human beings and not the other creatures. That which raises human beings on the higher plane to the other creatures, it places them on a higher plane, is the great power of jnana, knowledge, that God has given to human beings in abundance. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to Bharatji in Chitrakoot, Hita anahita pashu pachiyu jana manushatan guna gyan nidhana. Jnana nidhan. But when that knowledge is destroyed, Jnanam hitesham adhiko vishesho, but jnane nahi naha pashubhis samanaha. When that knowledge is destroyed, we become just like animals or worse than them. And when this knowledge is destroyed, when we get angry, we forget everything. Everything goes down the drain. Because we lose the power to discriminate. Practice not to get angry. Practice not to be angry. Anger is, in the world you have anger management and all. Well, it goes a little bit, but until Maya doesn't go, Maya is the mother. These are all her children. Greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust. Then all will go. As you practice bhakti, as the mind purifies, the more the mind purifies, the closer you get to Bhagavan, the more devotion comes in you, these things will get less and less because purity is coming into the heart and the mind. It will be there until Maya is there, but it gets less and less and less. It starts extinguishing. So, this is what happens. Again, Sri Krishna says, Ragadvesh vimuktaista vishayanindriyaischaran atmavaishyai vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 64. If someone can get rid of raga dvesh, two things here. Rag, dvesh. It's called raga dvesh. This is two things we have to try to get rid of, be free from. Rag means attachment. Love for the material world, attachment in the material world is called rag. And dvesh means hate. Hate for someone in the material world. You know, people think in the world that I I don't love anyone, but I hate a lot of people. I hate. And we think we are good. Hate is as dangerous. When it comes to attachment, the mind gets attached. There are two kinds of attachment. There's favorable attachment and unfavorable attachment. Both attaches the mind. Both of them. Let's suppose someone loves someone in the world. You love someone, mother, father, wife, husband, child, girlfriend, boyfriend. You think about a person all the time and desire to be with them. And when you hate someone, what happens? You think about them all the time too. You tell people about them, how bad they are. And you wait for an opportunity to take revenge. The mind gets attached. It gets attached. Whether we hate or whether we love. So the one who is able to become free from raga dvesh, the feeling of rag, love, attachment in both love as well as hate, negative as well as positive for the world, he is able to control the senses. And how are you able to do that? Two things you have to do, sadhana and spiritual knowledge. That comes from the true Guru. He attains, then God, when a person becomes free from raga dvesh, Bhagavan Krishna says here, prasad madhigachati. Bhagavan showers his prasad. Prasad means grace. He showers his grace on that soul. The moment we can start becoming free from feeling of love and hate for the world, Bhagavan starts showering his grace upon us. Prasad, his prasad. He starts showering, and we are able to bring, through Bhagavan's grace, only through Bhagavan's grace, we are able to bring the mind under our control now. So what we have to do? We have to practice sadhana. We have to take some time from our busy life. Take some time. Meditate on God and chant His divine name. Chant His glories. Shed tears for Bhagavan. I mentioned that just as we eat food every day to keep the body healthy. Every day we eat. Sometimes 3 meals, sometimes more. Yes, we have to eat to keep the body healthy. But body belongs to us. And yes, we have to keep the body healthy. In the same way, we have to eat for the soul, the Atma also. We have to keep the soul healthy. The body is material, we give it material things. We give it dal, rice, bhaji, roti, bread, soup. Can we give that to the soul? Can we give it some dal, some rice, some bhaji? No. Why? Because the soul is divine. It's a fraction of God. God is divine, so the soul is also divine. So we have to give divine food to the soul. And what is divine food? When we take some time and we go into a room in exclusion and sit by ourselves in meditation, sit down and meditate on God. Meditate, chant His name, chant His glories, meditate on His divine form, shed tears for Bhagavan. That is food for the soul, the Atma. Just as we eat the right kind of food to keep the body healthy, we have to keep the soul, the Atma healthy also. Some of us, we don't get one meal or we don't get food one day, we want to die. And we are starving ourselves from uncountable lifetime and we don't feel anything. Do we think about feeding the soul, the Atma? We have to feed ourselves. We have to feed the soul. So, Guru gives that knowledge. The knowledge that you are the body, you're the soul, the Atma, not the body. The body belongs to you. Body is material. You're the soul, the Atma. That knowledge Guru will give. The knowledge that the happiness you're searching for, you will not find in any person or object in the world. That happiness you will find only in Shri Krishna, because Shri Krishna is happiness. Knowledge will sit in the intellect. That every relation of the soul is only with God. So just as we love in the world, just take the realizing that I am the soul, the Atma. Every relation of the soul is only with Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna is my mother. Shri Krishna is my father, my friend, my companion, my wealth, my knowledge, my everything. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinang tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvam ev. Tvam means two, you. You. Ev means he, alone. We are saying to God, Hey Bhagwan, Hey Shri Krishna, Hey Durga, Hey Shiv Bhagwan, you alone are my mummy, you alone are my papa, you alone are my friend, you alone are my companion, you alone are my wealth, you alone are my knowledge, you alone are my everything. But this knowledge Guru will give. The Satguru, that knowledge will be able, Guru binu hoi ki gyan, he will be able to make that knowledge sit in our intellect. And then, with that knowledge and our sadhana, slowly, slowly the mind will become detached from the world and attached to God. And that's the whole aim of spirituality. You don't have to give up the world or anything. It's not a physical thing. Detachment doesn't mean I have to give up divorce my wife, divorce my husband, abandon my children, abandon my parents, give up my house, my motor car, the bank balance. No. Keep everything. Keep everything. Just change the feeling. This is not mine. I'm just a custodian. This is Bhagwan's property. Now we sing the bhajan. ना ये तेरा ना ये मेरा मंदिर है भगवान का भूमि उसका पानी उसी की सब कुछ उसी महान का. Nothing belongs to you, nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to Bhagwan. दाता इकराम भिकारी सारी दुनिया. Bhagwan is the Data. Data means he is the giver, benefactor of all. Everything belongs to him. And we are only bhikari, beggars. We are custodians of God's property. So utilize it. He has given it us to utilize. First to utilize it to go to him. Do not be the owner. My house, my motor car, my... No, that's a Maya. Mera tera. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to Lakshman asks, what is Maya? Bhagwan says, with the feeling of mine and yours. That's the Maya. Get rid of that feeling. So take care of it. If I love Bhagwan and this is Bhagwan's property, I will take care of it. I will not get attached to it. I will utilize it to go to him, to get closer to him. So detachment is a mental thing. It's from inside. It has to be done with the mind, not physical. A lot of time people detach themselves from it's also in the Gita, Sri Krishna talks about this. Later on we'll hear more about that. That physically you're detached. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. But in the mind you're grieving. You're grieving. That's not detachment. That's deceit. Detachment is from inside. A person could have everything in the world. Great saints. They had everything. They live in a palace like. Yet there was no attachment. No attachment. For any person, any object in the world. The attachment was only on the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So devotees, there's much more. But I think I'll bring the Katha, this part, to an end here tonight. And we have many more sessions coming up. We'll hear more later on. बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. उमापति महादेव की जय. जय जय श्री राधे. जय जय श्री राधे. जय जय श्री राधे.